Should faculty teach students about privilege? MSU says yes. This is Undeniable with Sergei Kelley. Here I'll highlight news the One Watch has covered, things that weren't reported, and further information on the indoctrination and culture war at MSU. Today we will cover identity politics versus individualism at Michigan State University by discussing MSU mandated diversity training, a professor's attempt to educate her class on white privilege, and looking at the effect that all this has. Make sure to subscribe below to stay updated with further content. At MSU, a new online mandatory diversity training aims to build more inclusive communities by addressing gender and race privileges. And most importantly, and strikingly, one of these training videos calls on the faculty to, quote, be very diligent in helping students both examine their privilege and targeted identities, unquote. Again, a mandated training course by Michigan State University explicitly states for faculty to teach students about white privilege. The training is required for all newly enrolled Michigan State University students. The videos are part of the university's diversity and inclusion e-learning and encourages inclusion to prevent students from feeling othered. This training is put forward by MSU's Office of Inclusion and Intercultural Initiative. So, the first video focuses on inclusion in the classroom and calls out white male students for being oblivious in regards to diversity and their privilege. Quote, there's often this obliviousness of racial privilege and particularly of gender privilege for white males, unquote. They hold this privilege by being, quote, members of these social groups born with these privileges, unquote. The video further cites it is often hard to name and analyze these privileges in, quote, intellectual spaces, unquote, and we'll see that in a minute from an exclusive recording from The Morning Watch. According to the training, the challenges for diversity and inclusion are for, quote, minoritized students, but also for students who come from positions of privilege, unquote, which, of course, are the white males, because that's all they are, regardless of anything else. White males are just white males who are also privileged. As I move on to the recording, the Morning Watch obtained from the classroom, where the professor lectures about white privilege, remember, the MSU mandated diversity training requests this, for professors to lecture or teach, discuss about white privilege. Of course, I wonder how they'd react if a professor talked about individual determinism, taking responsibility, and developing their character. It's certainly counter to the white privilege or identity politics. Comment here with your thoughts or on other outlets where this video is available. Moving on, the recording the Morning Watch obtained is from Professor Pryor's class, Sex, Gender, and Sexuality. Obviously, this would be the most likely setting for propagating the concept of white privilege.
Because historically, especially in the United States, we have privileged white people, right? And that privilege is very much ingrained in our social institutions, right? It's not like people are wandering around saying, oh, you're getting things because you're white, or oh, I should get things because I'm white. I mean, there are people who do that. But generally speaking, it has been normalized, right? It's in the ways that we construct laws. It's the ways that we construct policies. Right? If I look at the Constitution, where do I fit? Oh, everywhere because of my whiteness, but also nowhere because I am also a woman. So there's an example of a way that I have privilege in society, but also a way that I am disadvantaged. What did I do for my womanness? I didn't do anything. Right? And so here's an example of disadvantage. I earned disadvantage because, again, I didn't do anything. I was born this way. I was born white. I was born female. These are identity categories that we need to recognize. Some are privileged, and again, when we talk about privilege, we're not talking about, oh, I worked really, really hard to get this. We're talking about the ways in which certain categories have unearned advantages, just by nature of what they are.
So first, I'm glad you made the clarification about privilege. Obviously, if someone trained to become a good runner, you could be called privileged in that. But the runner obviously didn't get better because of their whiteness or other identity to race. But what are, as the recording mentioned, unearned advantages? Why do whites commit suicide at twice the rate of blacks, and at a higher rate than any other race in America except American Indians? According to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, white men, who the left argues the most privileged group in all of America, commit 7 out of every 10 suicides in America, even though they are 3 out of 10 Americans. This is from the National Review, which raises an additional great point. Throw away race and gender. There are much larger life influences or privileges, such as two-parent privilege, being raised by a mother and father, that will have a much greater life impact. They cite the poverty rate among two-parent black families is only 7%, where the poverty rate among whites in single-parent homes is 22%. If white privilege isn't a thing, and if you grant its existence has a minimal influence in this game of identity politics is a farce, then what is the effect of all this mandated teaching and propagation at MSU? Let's check MSU's own Office of Inclusion and Intercultural Initiatives. Taking student money, they neatly and professionally put out a report on diversity at MSU. And of course, the front page has all the token diversity pictures on the front. When we look at the 2011 versus 2018 6-year graduation rate, the 2018 rate was 80%, an increase from the 2011 77%. The graduation rate for all groups when comparing these 2 years, except for students whose race is unknown, or for students of 2 or more races, who had the highest rate in 2011. The largest increase is among African Americans and black students, who saw an 11% increase. The highest rate for 2018 was among Asians, then whites, then international students. This data is interesting, but what does it say? It certainly says that some groups graduate more or less than others, and this includes Asians, whites, and international students having the highest 6-year graduation rate in 2018. But, as we conclude, does it point to race privilege such as white privilege? And even if we conclude it's based on economic status, which I would certainly say has more weight to success, it is not wholly definitive. I propose to stop tallying races and start by individuals. What if the Inclusion Office tested graduation rates among students who had a high value of hard work? How about students that are active in churches and synagogues or honor societies and such? Is it identity politics or individualism? At MSU, we have seen the mandated diversity and white privilege training, a professor's attempt to educate her class on white privilege, and the effect of all this leads to diversity reports that don't account for individual wealth, choices, family relations, or religion. This has been Undeniable with Sergei Kelley. Subscribe below to the Morning Watch channel, and also subscribe to our website, The Morning Watch. A link will be in the description. Also connect with us on social media, which includes Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, to stay up to date with the dominant and unwelcoming leftist culture at Michigan State University.